Dr. Louis Delgado here on WJHM 102 Jams, and of course Rock100DIZ.com, and my partner Trinity Phillips, the Dharma guy, is here with me, and even Zoe's here. That's the last time I'm trying to do this.
That's a cool name, by the way.
Who knows what's happening with this Facebook Live? You know, Mark Zuckerberg is messing with me.
I keep getting updates too, telling me the count's live.
Yeah, it is. Well, it is live, and then it's not live, and then it's live, and then it's not live. So anyway, I was gone on vacation. You guys make, I heard a lot of crap about me being in the water with my feet in the water.
I think it's jealousy. I mean, I know from my perspective, it was straight up jealousy.
When the kids left, and I didn't get a real good picture of it, but even an eel came up through my legs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And everybody's like, "Aren't you afraid?" And I'm like, "Well, no, because I'm just going to assume it's not going to do anything." Because you would think that if this eel lives here, it would have gotten someone else in the past, and maybe there'd be a sign.
It probably doesn't view you as food either.
I'm thinking too much American, though. I'm thinking there'd be a sign that says, "Beware of eel."
Yeah, they might not have that.
The whole family got up and moved after they saw it. But anyway, it was awesome. Right, Zoe? We had a good time?
Yeah.
Right? Zoe really wants to stay away from the microphone. You see that?
Yeah, she pushed it as far away as she could.
Right.
But no, I think it was mostly jealousy. I think everybody just,
It was just fun.
it was just like, wow, that was nice.
It was fun.
I think we would have enjoyed the switch places.
Do you want light over there where you're at? Do you have light?
No, I'm good, man. The less light, the better.
You like it dark too?
Yes.
All right, so we're all in the dark.
But as somebody who is now scuba certified,
Congratulations!
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations! You are now officially a diver.
I am.
Do they make suits that big?
They do.
Isn't there like a size requirement?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you would just think that they would just like say, if you're as big as a shark, maybe you shouldn't be in the water.
No, there's no size requirements that I'm aware of. They had a suit for me. I think it was like 4X.
The shark will never bite you.
Yeah.
They'll say that's an
I'll bite him
orca.
back.
That's an orca.
I'll bite him back. But no, it was like a 4X suit. My problem was the BCD, the thing that holds. All your gear
So
and
you see how he's speaking the diver language.
That's right.
The BCD.
That's right, man. I think it's called the buoyancy control device.
Buoyancy control device.
No, my problem was just finding one that I could fit like my arms and shoulders into. They were kind of tight. So.
I bet it's all tight.
Yeah,
the whole suit looks tight.
Yeah,
Wetsuits just look tight, period. Even on thin people.
Dude, that wetsuit was like the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. I don't know how chicks get those skinny jeans on and stuff.
Well, I don't know how you get your arms. You got such big, massive arms.
I couldn't do it on my own. I had to have somebody
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Your arms are the biggest part of your whole body.
Once it gets on, I feel fine.
Really?
Just getting on was brutal.
And you could breathe with that thing? All right, man. Well, that's going to be fun. So tune in at later occasions. I'm sure we'll have diving stories from Trinity.
Hopefully.
The Dharma guy
I've
dives.
already got one. I got
the Dharma guy dives.
Yeah,
I like that. I just like the way it sounds. Anyway, so a lot has happened. Like you said, you guys were talking about, is it a disease? Is it a choice? And that was a good show. If you want to hear replays of that, it'll be available on our iTunes, our podcast. So we've got our Podomatic and stuff. Go to iTunes and find it. But here's the other thing. So I'm gone, and all this legislation starts changing. Right? And I sent it to you.
Yes,
So
you did.
we're going to want to talk about that. So today, later on in the show, we're going to call Tom Garafola. Garafola, I'm sorry, that's how he says his name. Tom Garafola from Retreat Premier Addiction Treatment Centers. And we're going to talk to him about this new legislation that's going to affect every treatment center in Florida. I mean, every treatment center in Florida will be affected by this new legislation. So we're going to have to talk about it.
Sure.
And because I'm just coming back, I'm just hearing all of it, and I'm going, wait a minute, what did I miss?
No.
I mean, it seemed like
I didn't even hear it at all, to be honest with you.
a lot of stuff came through while I was gone. So there's a lot of people worried about how it's going to affect their business and stuff. But we're also going to talk not only how it affects the businesses and the treatment centers, but how it helps you as the consumer of a treatment center. So there are going to be some improvements and some benefits for you to feel a little bit more comfortable about picking Florida treatment centers. Well, treatment centers, look, have gotten a little bit of a hit since that Megyn Kelly show. Did you watch that?
I did not.
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal amongst the treatment community.
But I do know that a couple days ago I had to hold my tongue when somebody was in one of my groups.
Oh, yeah?
And they were mentioning that they went, their first stint in rehab was down south, aka Florida.
Yeah.
And he was mentioning something that just did not sound right to me. And I fought everything inside me. He said, it's because you were down south.
Oh.
But I did not. I was like, okay, that's interesting. But
what was the problem of what they said? Like, why did you want to defend it?
Because he was saying that he was asking for, I guess, an IOP recommendation or whatever, and he said there was one down south that he basically showed up to once a week just to get tested and left.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I don't know if you're going to find too many down here that only do that.
Yeah.
I think most ILPs are going to want to see you maybe more than once a week, but more than just a test. And they're going to want to talk to you and
right.
Things of that nature. But
yeah.
Yeah, so I was like,
that's not the norm.
No, I wanted to say that's because you were down south, but I didn't.
Right. Definitely.
Just let it go.
Definitely not the norm. But in South Florida, I wouldn't doubt that there were some programs doing that, and that's why all of us in all of Florida have to pay for the criminals in South Florida who are doing what they're doing.
Sure.
So now we're all paying the price for it. And unfortunately, a lot of people from out of state that were sending their loved ones to Florida, or they chose to come to Florida for their own recovery, had to get hurt in that whole process. And so I gotta, how do you get upset about new legislation? Sure. I don't like regulation. I gotta admit, I don't like heavy regulation. I like regulation, but I don't like when they get so involved, but they don't really regulate. We've talked about it with pharmaceutical companies. I say, they pay all this money to be regulated, but then they don't really regulate it. Sometimes, you know what I mean? And so if you're gonna do it, do your job. For instance, car dealer. Let's talk about something that's not even treatment related. Car dealerships should not be allowed to say all these things and then at the end have a bunch of stuff in little fine print on a television that nobody can read or say things so fast. So that's not really regulation.
No.
It may sound good, it may sound like regulation, but the fact that they're able to put in small fine print all these little details that nobody can read, nobody knows what it says. We just know that whatever they're saying in advertising is not true. So and I bring this up because when I was in Aruba again.
Of course, why not?
The taxi, and Zoe can say it. Zoe remembers it. There was a taxi cab driver that says, well, the thing is that because they're a Dutch colony, they say in the Netherlands, they actually have true truth in marketing, unlike the United States. And I was like, well, no, we have truth in advertising. They go, well, not really. And then he brought that up.
Sure.
So even they know that our advertising campaigns are allowed to have fast speakers and little tiny words on a commercial, and that changes everything.
Well, of course. And I honestly, there was a time, I remember, first of all, the Micro Machine guy.
Yeah.
Where we just
the original fast talker.
Exactly.
Right.
And they would always have that kind of thing at the end.
Right.
It's impossible to understand.
Right.
But I do remember when DVR was invented, I remember pausing car commercials, trying to see if I could read the fine little print, and I could never do. Even with DVR, you can't read it. So, hey, Robbie the intern just texted us.
Oh yeah, what's going on with Robbie? Robbie's still out of town.
He is. He's in Colorado.
So our intern's not with us today because he's in Colorado having a great time.
He's still working though. Robbie, what are you doing? He just sent us.
I saw him hiking.
He just sent us an article, I guess. It says Rick Scott ceremonially signs legislation to fight opioid abuse.
That's what we're talking about, Robbie. Look, he's on time.
That's a good intern.
That's a good intern right there.
That's what I'm talking about.
Go get yourself a Robbie. That's what I suggest. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about that a little bit later on. And I sent it to you, so you at least there's some bullet points.
Sure.
Not all of it, just some bullet points.
Well, it just to me, it kind of goes to what you and I were talking about last night, and was the fact that it's so far-reaching in so many different areas. It's got so many subtle nuances.
Right.
Just briefly, the article that I'm referring to, because I know we're going to call Tom here when we're talking about legislation.
Right.
But just briefly, the article that I'm referring is there was I guess there was some surveys done and studies done or whatever, and apparently I think that most of these were done in Ohio. Maybe slightly off on that, but I know that there's some surveys being done, and essentially the moral of the story here, the gist of the article, was basically stating that a lot of employers, especially in manufacturing jobs, are having a hard time keeping employees because of the opioid crisis or addiction in general. Because what's happening is they're getting employees, and a lot of them are failing drug tests or just flat out refusing to take them and quitting because they know that they're going to pop out positive. And so that it's very hard for them to get employees and keep them. And they said even what's happening now is they used to put up a hiring thing, and then when they would hire people, they would take it down. They don't even bother taking it down anymore because they're fully aware that over half of them are either going to get fired or quit. And so what's happening, in an indirect way, what's happening is a lot of these manufacturing companies are starting to move more towards automation. Because automation, you don't have to worry about sick days, calling in, overdoses, relapses, things of that nature, from the business perspective. So what they're doing now is they're moving over automation to basically take something that used to require like 30 employees, now only takes 2.
Right.
And then, so in an indirect way, what that's doing is affecting, out of those 30 employees that would have taken, if only like 3 of them would have been in recovery or addiction related, causing an employer with U.S. issues, what about the other 25 now who can't get employment? based upon that issue. So it's like it's this
trickle.
Yeah, man. It's just it's like a big web that's affecting everything. It's very interesting.
It is affecting a lot more people than we anticipate.
Absolutely.
Now here's the good part about what you're saying. The good part about what you're saying is instead of them closing their eyes like the construction industry has done for years, which is they don't test a lot of their employees until there's an accident, simply because they say, well, then I won't have any employees, which is a ridiculous argument.
And actually, someone even said that. It was a roofer. And he was saying that his problem was alcohol, and he couldn't keep employees because they were always not showing up or what have you.
Right.
That was the gripe.
Right.
But
well,
it was just interesting.
Well, the thing is that if all employers in all
sure.
industries would follow the same protocol, you actually help individuals who have problems with
sure.
drugs or alcohol stay clean and sober.
Yeah, the other thing that was interesting to me was
that accountability is what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. The other thing that was interesting was if they did take a test and it came back positive for a prescription med, as long as they could provide a prescription,
sure.
they would make that null and void. Which I think under a lot of cases is good. But what about the ones like when we had good ones where they had prescriptions and they just used it? They completely didn't. They just overlooked that.
Well,
so
I mean,
it puts them in a weird position. You can't investigate somebody's medical, the viability of their medical concerns. But the same token, like hey, they're showing up and not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So what do we do?
Right, and there is a difference between people with legitimate long-term pain issues and people that had short-term pain issues, got addicted to it, then it became a long-term problem. So, and it's not fair for the employer to have to differentiate between those two, and they have to just count on the medical part of the world, the team, the physicians and pharmacies and all that regulation to kind of watch over that for them.
But but for me, what I took from that article, to be honest with you, was yet again, this is yet one more reason that shows that we can't just put our head in the sand. Like we can't just ignore the problem. We can't just say it's them, not us.
Right.
We can't just continue to put it off. Like we have to have these discussions. We have to move forward. Because whether you want to admit it or not, it's affecting you. Even if you're not in recovery yourself, you don't have a family member that is or isn't, it's still affecting you.
Right.
Somehow, some way.
Well, here's what I hear about some of the stuff that you're saying, though. So, because you're talking about manufacturing jobs, right? When you were talking about
that's what the majority of the article was about.
Well,
manufacturing and some office jobs.
Well, a lot of the manufacturing companies have been trying to go, automated for years. That's why there's all the machinery, right? You can go to a factory now and a guy is maybe moving something from here to there, but the machine is doing a bulk of the work.
Well, that's what they say. It's speeding the process up.
So it just encourages them to go further with that, and it allows them to do it without the union saying, "Hey, you're costing people's jobs." They're saying, "Well, then you watch your people because your people are getting high." So it's a way to fight the unions as well, because the unions are out there trying to protect people's livelihood and jobs. So it just gives them. I mean, even McDonald's and Burger King and all these places are trying to go automated.
Yeah.
I mean, you go into some fast food places now, and
I haven't seen it.
There may be a person, and they're still taking your order, but there's also the machines.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Who can take it. You haven't seen it?
No,
yeah, there's a few out there that I've
seen like pictures and stuff where there's like a kiosk.
Right.
For your food.
Right. And then did you notice Robbie was saying, "Hey, it looks like someone's sitting in my seat"? Yeah, it's Zoe. Zoe's in your seat, Robbie.
I'm actually in the seat.
But that's what he meant. I mean, it's flip flop.
There you go.
On the
replaced Robbie.
He's probably not used to it when you're watching it on TV. It's actually inverting.
Oh yeah.
So you're on a different side because of the way the camera is, I guess. And Katie's saying something there. What is she saying? Hey, Katie. I always wondered what they did if a test came back positive. Do they have to report it? Well, yeah. For anybody who does test, and this is why a lot of companies don't test and a lot of employers don't test, because then it's what are you going to do about it? Because once you know, and this is why some physicians, by the way, don't do drug testing, and I think all physicians really should drug test, because they're the first line of being able to at least rule out that the drugs or the alcohol use is not hurting some of the other stuff that they're coming in for.
Right.
The aches and pains, the headaches, the not being successful with their medication, the medication may not be working with other things that they're using. Hey, Vivitrol's on the news. So if everyone was drug testing, then we'd at least be able to rule that out. I'd love to know what they're talking about on here.
They don't have the little headline at the bottom for you.
So you can't read it, but it's about Vivitrol on News 13, so that's a good thing. So they've been talking a lot about that. Everything's been about opiates and opioid crisis. But anyway, what I was saying is, so what do they do about it? Well, then they have to act on it, because if they don't, now they're responsible. So now that if the physician knows that you have a drinking problem and doesn't do anything, doesn't recommend anything, now he becomes partially responsible. If your employer now knows that you have a drug problem, doesn't really recommend anything or kind of push you to do anything, now they become partially responsible. So they have to recommend help. And so some employers, many employers have EAP programs where they offer help. A lot of people don't trust that. But you can use that. You can utilize the power of the disability acts that exist, the health acts that exist. They're there to protect you. If you have a drug or alcohol problem, trust me, your employer will have a difficult time in most states firing you just based on that. If you're asking for help,
myself, not for drug related issues, but I've used it.
Right, just because your muscles were too sore.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
The other thing I would like to say, because I know we're getting ready to make a phone call in a few minutes,
right?
And I don't want to get into too much detail because I think next week that's what we're going to talk about. But I watched a Vice News episode last night.
Right. So go ahead and tease that. So this is what we're talking about next week. We're going to have the person on, right?
I'm hoping so. I made contact, and she says she would like to be interviewed, and so I'm trying to work out the details to get her on.
Okay, so go ahead. Because Robbie's not here. Normally that would be Robbie.
Correct. But since Robbie's, his own little vacation here, my humble
enjoy
self
Colorado.
But yes, so the thing I watched, and once again, I won't get it's just a tease. So the thing I watched that I don't know how I quite feel about it, so I think we should have a show talk about it and get some responses. But there is a lady out there who I feel has the most noble intentions, who is taking on foster children that were taken away from their parents due to some sort of drug abuse situation.
Okay.
And what she did was she created a nonprofit where she's traveling the country and she's paying people suffering from addiction $300 to either become sterile or to take birth control. The sterilization, now once again, I'll let her kind of address a lot of that, but just my interpretation of it, I guess, is $300 lump sum if you go to a doctor and become sterile. And if you take the birth control, which I believe was mostly IUDs and implanting or whatever, they paid you that same $300 over an extended period of time, basically. And because her, from what I understood, her approach was she didn't like the idea of people who were struggling with addiction still having numerous children and putting them in those environments and those situations.
Wow.
So I just thought that was a very interesting topic. I thought it was an interesting solution to that problem.
Right.
And I didn't know how I quite felt about it. And so I talked to you, and we decided it would be an interesting thing to have her on the show.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to have her explain it because that's a bold thing. And so listen, I gotta applaud anybody trying to do something. Absolutely. I love solutions. And if anyone out there that has issues with one solution, then they gotta ask themselves, well, do I have an alternative solution, and what am I really doing about it?
Yeah.
Am I just saying it, or am I doing it?
Yes.
So the doers of solutions, I applaud.
Yeah.
Even if it's in a direction that I may not 100% agree with. But here's the funny thing. When you say that, and I know we're not, that's next week's show. We'll talk about it next week's show. But since you gave so much information about this one, and you said about the $300, I'm just picturing myself going up to somebody who's just like really stupid and saying, can I give you $300 to become sterile? Yeah. I mean, can you imagine just going around, just somebody you're in an argument with, and just say, bro, I'll give you $100 right now if you just don't have children, because you're such an idiot that I want to get in. And I'm not talking about addiction at all. I'm just talking about idiots.
Well, there's lots of people I've felt that shouldn't reproduce in my life.
So I think I'm going to start an organization. Just let's stop the idiots from having babies.
Sure.
And so just any idiot you just send them $100 and say, if you cash, the only way to cash this is proof of that you are now sterile. I like that.
And there's some other nuances.
I'm just being silly.
There's a bigger discussion there at work too. There's some other nuances that were taking place.
Yeah.
And it's in that video that I sent you.
Okay.
But I fully plan on having that whole big talk with her, because I would like for her to be able to give a correct position where she's at. I don't want to misinterpret anything.
Here's the thing. I think a lot. I hear that you're confused about how you feel about it. I know I'm confused about how I feel about it.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to let it marinate a little bit.
Same here.
But I guarantee you, if this were an organization focused on doing this to people who have 5+ children and are getting government assistance, there would be hell to pay for a person like this for even thinking about doing this. Well, so I think we need to put into context that what is going to happen while we're speaking with her, or while we put it out there on our social media for people's opinions, is that a lot of it's going to depend on how people view addicts and the disease of addiction.
I agree.
Because for instance, there are people have definite opinions on how they feel about people in poverty, people of other class systems, people of other races, of other cultures.
That one you just said is the one that was the hot button in the interview. That some people had a problem with. Because from some people's perspective,
right?
Obviously, she denies that and came up with statistics to prove otherwise.
Okay.
But from the person who's doing the interviewing,
right? They
brought up the concept, I guess, that there was a disproportionate amount of a certain race.
That it's a color thing.
Correct.
Oh, so all right. So let's table this then. There's so much to talk about in that. Yes. All right. So next week, that's what we're going to talk about.
We will definitely talk about it. My hope is that
whether she's on or not.
I think we should.
What's her name?
I don't know. I gotta.
Well, Miss Lady. What's the name of the
The name of the organization is Project Prevention.
All right, Project Prevention. So, I hope you join us next week to explain yourself, because we're definitely going to talk about it. We're going to get information from our viewership and our friends out there and the people that we're connected with. So please, I hope you make yourself.
And the reason why I said I don't know is because I don't know who I'm in contact with.
Right.
It was an info at whatever, so I don't know if it was her or somebody from the organization.
Well, you should just put Robbie on it. Robbie will make sure it gets done.
Yeah. He's better at that than I am.
He's better at it than both of us.
Yeah.
Combined. All right. So anyway, let's get to this. So there was a conference, State of Recovery conference, and man, there was so many things going on. I wanted to be at this conference, Trinity. I wanted so bad to be at the State of Recovery conference. It's the one that we both wanted to be at. You had something going on. I had something going on. But we had James Gordon down there getting live information for us. We had Jack Davis out there representing the lab system. We had Tom Garafola representing treatment and just telling it like it is. So we got Tom. We got to get Tom on the air. And we want to talk about this and the new regulation that's coming out. So, all right, now we got to figure this out again. I haven't been here in so long. I don't even know what to hit. All right. So.
Can't help you.
I'm
on this side.
All right, here we go. There we go. I hit the right button. All right, give me the phone number. All right, here we go. Muscle memory, brother. It's weird when you go on vacation. It just seems like you forget everything. So I'm calling Tom Garafola.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I've never been to Aruba.
From Retreat Premier Addiction Treatment Centers. I'm going to talk about this stuff. All right.
Hello.
Is this Tom Garafola?
This is Hey.
What's up, Tom?
Delgado?
That's right. You're on the couch live right now with the street certified dope Dr. Louis Delgado and Trinity Phillips, the Dharma guy. How is everything going, sir?
Everything is good. New Jersey's beautiful.
New Jersey's
beautiful. I wish I was in Florida right about now.
Yeah. Well, how is the weather in Jersey right now? Because it's always just hot here.
It's not bad. It's about 78, I think. It's a little cloudy, but it's sky too.
Wait a minute. It's 78 degrees.
How we doing, guys?
You're in heaven, Tom. It's 78 degrees. That's heaven.
It's over 90 here.
Yes, I know, but I just love to be in Florida.
Yeah. Well, we love having you. So here's you were just in Florida. So first of all, you're from. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and then we'll get into the State of Recovery conference.
Okay. And hello to everybody there, right, Trinity?
Hey.
I'm a guy. How we doing?
Yeah.
So I'm the Chief Marketing Officer with Retreat Premier Addiction Treatment Centers. We have residences, main campuses rather, in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, good old Dutch Amish country, and 113th bed campus in Palm Springs, down here in Palm Beach County.
Right on. And so you came down, there was a State of Recovery conference down in South Florida, and there was a lot to talk about. There's a lot of fear going on with all the new regulation, and there's a lot of talk going on. I mean, we're making the news, we're on NBC, Megyn Kelly has a thing on. So give us a little update on your experience the other day when you were a panel member. First of all, what was the topic of that panel discussion, and tell us a little bit about how it played out.
Okay, so as you may know, so we kind of co-host the conference, State of Recovery. We are the sponsors of the reception night, and the business that we're doing with places or entities like Medivans, which were the sponsors, the main pushers of the conference, or any of the other conferences, or people in your position who have platforms. if I'm signing a contract to participate as some high-level sponsor, I'm pushing people to have a panel discussion about the ethics in our business.
Right.
It's something that I'm passionate about. You and I have had many discussions about it. And so I'm starting to make a little headway on that. I have a couple of things lined up.
Nice.
We're fortunate to have Doug Edwards be a moderator for us. Doug does a great job. Doug from Addiction Professional and Mento.
Okay.
The topic really was, I forget the exact topic, but it had to do with the ethical practices in this business, especially as it relates to marketing, the marketing end, the sober houses, all that is the problem. Not only in Florida, although everybody puts the attention on Florida, but elsewhere. It like a plague, it has spread to the Northeast and the Midwest and out to Arizona and California. It's all about money.
Right.
Now I heard today that a place out by you had an open house or something, and the company behind it is a food company.
Really?
I'm not kidding you a little bit. I can talk to you about what restaurant entity it is later on. But
all right.
They are in the business now of substance abuse treatment. So it just goes to tell you what this business looks like now. The panel went very well. I had somebody from the lab screening industry on the panel with us. We had Amelia Saeed, who was very involved on the legal side of what's going on, and someone from the billing end. So it was a pretty complete discussion. There was probably about 80 or 90 people there.
Nice.
It got very good reviews, and we're looking to do more with it.
Yeah, I heard you made some pretty strong comments. Tell us a little bit of some of the comments that were some of your favorite things that you got a chance to say to those 80 people.
Louis, this is something that I wish I didn't have to do, and I'll tell you, again, we know each other now a little bit. You understand a little bit about the way I come across and what is passionate to me. I basically told there was a signature thing. I told people, these are not marketers. Everywhere I read or hear about the things these people, patient brokering, they're not marketers. They're scumbags.
Right.
They're predators. They're not marketers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an insult to people who go to school or try to work real hard to hone a craft, to hone the ability to have that skill to develop a relationship that can equal into something benefiting a patient, the program, whatever. I don't bite my tongue much.
Right.
So I thought it went very well. I got a lot of positive response, a lot. So,
yeah. Now,
everybody did well.
For the people not in this industry, or for the people that are watching or listening to this program, and to them, they're just somebody that wants recovery themselves. They have a family member that may be in treatment or needs treatment. What is exactly the problem that they're talking about? And why was it necessary? What is actually going on, and how do they avoid some of the pitfalls that we're talking about?
Well, okay, so education is always the best way to avoid having problems like that. We all understand that when a family is trying to find treatment for their 23-year-old daughter, who they finally realize has some kind of an addiction, usually at that age we're seeing a lot of the opiate addiction being the primary situation.
Right.
So they go, where do we go? If they don't know anybody, if they don't first talk to somebody, say in their church or at work, a lot of times they don't want people to know. So what are they going to do? They go to the web.
Mm-hmm.
And the websites out there, people put nice websites on, but they're attached to, it's like fool's gold.
Right.
So they don't know better. Or they're watching TV and they see, somebody posing as a doctor saying, we can help you. And there's so many different issues related. Then, or they get tied in. They call somebody and then they get tied in with basically a predator, somebody that is
Right.
just, they get paid by the head, they're a headhunter, they don't know any better.
Right.
So there are a lot of those types of issues that we're dealing with in our industry. And,
Right.
and again, the best way for somebody to avoid that is to do their homework. I mean, it won't take you that long to look into a place that you're considering, to making a couple of phone calls, to asking for some references. You know, they don't need to suffer this thing in silence, but yet, you know, nobody wants anybody to know their daughter is, you know, a heroin addict.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So there's a lot of different components to it.
And all of this is causing some regulation to come through. So what was it? Is it 897 or what is it? The new
807.
807. There you go. That's now coming through.
807.
So that got passed, right? Now, when we say that got passed, that's really what? The governor just saying this is what's going to happen?
It went through the legislative process.
Right.
It has been cleared and approved and passed, and so now it is a law. And the things that are within that piece of legislation finally seriously address the issues that we deal with in this industry, at least in Florida.
Right.
You know, I'll tell you something else related.
Oh, we're losing you a little bit. You're going in and out there, Tom.
Yeah.
There you
All
are.
right, hold on. Louis?
I hear you.
Okay, so everybody's complaining about the Megyn Kelly piece, right?
Right.
That she didn't present the good things going on in Florida, and there are good things going on in Florida and in our industry.
Correct.
And we feel like we're leaders in some of those things.
Right.
So my opinion on that is, you know what? If you got a black eye, we earned that black eye, good or bad.
Right.
I have nothing to do with that and the sickness that these people. But I'm part of the industry, and so
Right.
we can sit and complain about it and talk about how Megyn Kelly. Or just like a fighter, when you get hit good in the ring in one round, you go to your corner, you're out, back down and fight, and you do a good job.
Yeah, you correct whatever it is. And what Tom's referring to, if you're unaware of, is Megyn Kelly from NBC did a piece. And in that piece, they talked about some of the problems that some South Florida treatment centers have been getting in trouble with. And I guess since so many treatment centers are in South Florida, they were concerned because it really did cost them a lot of business. There were people calling coming down, picking up their children or picking up their loved ones, moving them to a facility outside of Florida. But because people can't differentiate South Florida from North Florida, South Florida from Central Florida, or good from bad. They just figured that since she said the word Florida, and I just sent my loved one to Florida, you know, they must all be that way. And so there are a lot of people afraid. And I like what you're saying. It's like, look, we earned it as an industry. We individually may not have earned it, but as an industry, we've earned it. And since we're dealing with, we deal with so much stigma already. It's already so difficult to get someone help. So I guess the only thing that I would say to the Megyn Kelly piece was, if she really understood how hard it already is to convince people that treatment works and that treatment is a solution for a lot of people, or else death is the next option, then at least there would have been a little bit more push to say, however, don't blame treatment as a whole. Treatment does work, and still reach out and help and get help. And I think that's the push that I think still needs to be done, and that's what we're for, though.
Oh, and that's, listen, I agree. You're going to do a news.
You're cutting in and out, Tom. I want to hear what you're saying, but it seems like we're getting a bad connection. Can you move it around a little bit? Uh-oh. Can you try again? Let's see. I don't want to lose him. He always has such great things to say. I don't want to lose Tom. Tom, are you there? There you are. Great.
I didn't move. Can you hear me?
A little bit. I can hear you.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Oh, right there. Right where you're at.
I am 7
There it is. It's perfect where you're at. And then
a two-part expose like that, you would think that they would spend a little time trying to show
right.
The positives. That didn't happen.
Right.
You know what? Okay, it's done. Let's
it's done.
make sure that the next article or the next expose that's done, it shows the positives, that it's more about the positives.
Right.
That we're changing.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I applaud what they're doing with the bill. I mean, I applaud the things that they're trying to do now. It's about time.
Right. All right. So 807, like Trinity, you have part of it. What are some of the bullet points, Trinity?
Well, I have the one brought up that Robbie said.
Okay.
That was HB 477.
Okay, no, that's different. The one I sent you.
Yeah, the one you sent me. It's funny.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. On
this
that
one says changes to DCF licensing.
Yeah.
So it says this bill makes several changes to DCF's licensure program for substance abuse treatment programs in Chapter 397. The bill revises the licensure application requirements and process, requiring providers as part of the application to provide proof that they have obtained accreditation by the second renewal.
Okay, so stop right there. All right, so that's one of the biggest things, is that now, Tom, part of that whole 807 deal is that anyone licensed as a substance abuse facility, now we're talking outpatient and above, is what it sounds like. So that means outpatient.
We're talking about any facility.
Any facility,
we're
which...
talking about outpatient?
I'm sorry?
We're talking about any facility.
Yeah, we're talking about all levels of... Apparently, all levels of care will now have to be accredited by one of the accreditation organizations. So we're talking JCO accreditation, CARF accreditation. If they are not accredited after the second cycle, apparently they're not going to be able to practice. So, but they're also indicating, Tom, that the rates that we currently, as providers, I say we as if I still own a facility, so let me back up. I don't own one right now. So in other words, all treatment providers already pay, just so you people know, treatment centers already pay to be reviewed and audited by the Department of Children's and Families here in Florida, meaning we already pay $300 per license to have them come in and evaluate you at any time. They come once a year for sure, but they can come in at any time. What they're saying is these rates are now going to significantly increase from DCF, and they're going to now they're going to mandate you also have additional accreditation, not just DCF license, but now you're going to need an accreditation, which is going to significantly affect the bottom line for a lot of providers, more so the small providers that are barely making it because they're doing all the right things. It's going to really affect them a great deal. It's going to affect you guys. You're a large organization and you're in a network and you're already accredited, Tom. So it's not going to really affect you, but it does go to the stuff that we've already said. Hey, man, go ahead and regulate me. Go ahead and watch me because I'm doing the right thing. It's the people that are not doing the right thing that we need this accreditation and regulation so they can kind of see those, correct?
Yeah, and look, you know, anytime, I give you a comparative, for instance, when you have this type of legislation that comes down. Everybody knows the Megan Tanker law, right?
Right.
Everybody knows it. To protect, well, Megan Tanker was a child that was murdered about 1.5 miles from my house.
Wow.
Okay? The law was put in place to protect children from that type of predator.
Right.
Over the years, the law has been stretched so far that now you sometimes have a lot more potential for the overregulation.
Right.
Fortunately, when you get into this is my view, when you get into a situation where our field has gotten into at this point, and the state who has dragged their feet and done nothing, now all of a sudden they have to wield a big hammer. And
right.
some places, unfortunately, are going to wind up that shouldn't go out of business, may wind up going out of business under that crunch. Hopefully the people that are serving those that are sick and coming in for treatment will be able to move on to places that are surviving. But there's a lot of adjustment that places that want to be in this business, and it's not just for their bottom line.
Right.
A lot of them are making. I know many places that are Florida model, meaning, you know, they're typically residential one place and treatment in another.
Right.
That are now looking at going in network getting their JCO accreditation,
Right.
instead of working a lot of network, taking less rates with more possible business,
Right.
So that they can fall under the right side of these guidelines.
Okay, so you bring up...
Not everybody's going to be happy.
No, but you bring up a great question. So, like with the lab industry, labs that want to go in network are unable to go in network because the insurance companies shut that down, close that down. Why? Because there's such an agreement, or I hate to say collusion, but it almost looks like LabCorp, and we also want to do a lab for Blue Cross Blue Shield. They would say, no, it's closed down, send it to Quest Diagnostics, something like that, or LabCorp.
Yeah.
LabCorp. All right, so in the treatment industry, what we're saying is they of course love you guys because you have a set price of what they will pay you because you're a network provider. I see how this is trying to affect the criminals that did come into this industry, by the way, just so you guys know that don't know. It was a lot of the ones that only take out of network so they can do whatever price they wanted, and they had little oversight on how they did it, and little argument about the services they did. They weren't held to any kind of standard by the insurance companies. Now, the problem with allowing insurance companies now to come in and say, all right, you're a network provider, or you're not, some of that's not working in other parts of industry. Now, it does work well with doctors, medical doctors, and it has worked well typically in some other instances, but in the treatment industry, if you have 30, let's say 30 beds, Tom, if you had 30 beds,
Yep.
would it be profitable to be in network at 30 beds or less?
I don't know. I guess it would depend on how much profit you're looking to do and what you're actually offering.
Right.
Obviously, the insurance companies, look, 30-bed facilities are a little more difficult.
Correct.
But you do have self-pay options.
Right.
Typically, there will be, until the insurances change, and I think at some point I think there'll be a whole shift
Right.
in the way the insurances work. I don't think that you're going to see a lot of out-of-network stuff at all anymore.
Yeah, which knocks out that small facility.
Doing, right?
You know, and because volume for you to be okay with an in-network cost or a price, you have to have volume, right, Tom? I mean, that just makes sense.
Well, yeah.
So
Yep, you have to have volume. You got to keep the beds full.
So I can see how
30 beds, you got to keep them full.
So I can see how a 100-plus bed facility does very well in that system. It's going to be interesting to see how the 30 beds in lower programs do well, especially like the 12-bed facilities. I mean, you can pretty much knock them out. The 12-bed facilities are done. With this regulation.
I think a lot of those places are going to fall by the wayside.
Right. There's no way a 12-bed facility can be accredited and in network.
No, there's a lot. It will be a lot. There'll be a lot of cost over.
Right. And then the outpatient. An outpatient, I have no idea how you do this outpatient wise. For an outpatient provider.
I think outpatients will be okay. I think there's a lot less overhead for outpatients.
Yeah, but
and even though you got to get an accreditation every year, there's a lot less. That's why you have the Florida model. It's a lot less overhead.
But like when I had my outpatient program for over 20-something years, I didn't have to do the accreditation, but you're doing hour to hour, so you can only bill so much an hour for a client. If I had to be accredited plus take insurance only, you know, or not only, but I had to be in network, insurance companies can pay you $30 for a session, and you have to take it. You can't survive. Or put it this way.
Well,
in other words, what it's going to do is it was already hard for people like myself. I was satisfied with the money I made. Put it that way. I was satisfied with the money I made. I didn't get into the industry of treatment to be a millionaire. I got in the industry of treatment because I really loved it and had a passion for it because I came from it. So it was a way of giving back. But for the real intelligent, well-educated people who want it to do it as a business, it's going to knock them out unless they get involved with large structures or corporate structures. And so the good part is that it's going to clean up the industry. We needed it, Tom. So you're right. We needed it. We did this to ourselves. We're going to have to go back to our corners, like you said, and kind of figure out our new game plan. For the smaller facilities, I think that they're going to have to associate themselves with large organizations like yours. And even then, I don't know how that's going to play out because your accreditation is per facility, right? It's not like you can take over one of these 12-bed facilities and become accredited.
Your accreditation is your accreditation is for each facility. So if you're accredited in Florida, you're
right.
not accredited in Pennsylvania, you have to go through the process at each facility.
So I think the real push. I'm sorry.
I do know there's going to be an upheaval on both sides.
Right.
On both sides. Whether
Right.
it's a good thing or it's a bad thing.
Right.
Ultimately, something had to be done.
Right.
Because you have a whole generation that is dying right now, and,
Right.
and a lot of things that are involved in this whole industry are just they're criminal.
Well,
problem.
what I would like to propose as a fix for the smaller facilities, because I think they do need a voice, is if a smaller facility, we should be able to push that if a smaller facility has a relationship with a larger facility, such as Retreat Premier Addiction Treatment Centers, and maybe have like a sub, so you're watching over them, you're almost like sponsoring them as a good program, then there should be some sort of level to be able to save those smaller facilities by being associated with larger facilities, is what I'm saying. Not owned by, but have some sort of relationship, almost just like a medical director takes responsibility for a facility as, all medical procedures. I think you should almost be like a sponsor of smaller facilities.
Well, that might not be a bad idea. I think there's a lot of things that have to be looked at when you consider doing that, because, you attach your reputation to
Correct.
To someone else's, and so there's always.
Well,
I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think it's something that can be discussed for sure.
Well, look, I'm only thinking about it on the fly. I'm just thinking about like cosigners. There's a lot of people with bad credit that have cosigners. You know what I mean? And it's almost like, but it allows people. It still allows people with bad credit to still own and kind of improve their credit by having somebody with better credit behind them. And so you need to offer an opportunity to people in a lower position to be able to be successful or competitive, because we are a capitalist society. And I just don't want to lose the capitalist part of everything, yet probably for the first time ever in my life, I'm in favor of regulation, which is a little bit odd for me.
Regulation?
Yeah, I'm not typically in favor of such regulation, but it's absolutely necessary, because you guys out there in Ohio and in Boston and Connecticut have sent your loved ones to Florida, and you want to make sure that your loved ones are being taken care of and well taken care of and not hurt by our industry down here in Florida. And I can assure you there's great programs down here in Florida like Retreat Premier Addiction Treatment Center. So we're on the phone with Tom Garafola right now from Retreat, that has the right intentions, does the right thing, and can help your loved one. And I think overall that's what we need to make sure we get that word out.
And just so you know, what you're talking about, I'll give you, for instance, in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey, there's an outpatient agency that's, 4 or 5 offices in South Jersey. We've spent some time actually trying to help. They're right-minded. They want to do the right thing. They provide good care. We want to associate ourselves with places like that. We will help those places in ways that we can do that, so that they can survive, so that they can thrive.
Great.
Listen, there's unfortunately there's plenty of people that need treatment at all levels.
Right.
I don't think any regulation is to shut down, has the intention of shutting down any size program. But I do realize that it's going to be more difficult. Outpatient, listen, you own one.
Yeah.
It's how many hours you can bill. So the more business you have, then an hour per group at IOP, you can get $175 an hour or something like that. So I mean, it's going to take some work. People have to go back to the drawing board. And I'll say this. The mission should drive the bottom line and not reverse. And if it's reversed, then I don't care what side you are, you probably shouldn't be in business. Right.
Well, here's what I'm glad of, Tom. Right now, I'm glad I don't currently own one. I'm so glad of that right now. Yeah. And I'm so glad that I don't have to write up a pro forma right now, because I would, number one, it would have to depend on all of this regulation. It would have to depend on what the insurance companies are willing to pay. The insurance companies are given a lot of power right now in our industry to just not even pay providers. And we're talking about the same industry that doesn't even know where they're going with healthcare. We have no idea what's going on with our healthcare. So it's this trickle down of not being able to know what's going on with healthcare, not what's going on with insurance, and then what's happening in Florida in the treatment industry. All that makes it very difficult to write up a pro forma to know what you're going to be making. if you were a current person trying to build a treatment center in Florida. So stay tuned, folks, because we don't know where this is going. Tom, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you and all the people at the Premier Addiction Treatment Centers. If you could please put your give us your phone number or website of how people can reach your facility if they wanted help for themselves or their loved one right now.
Okay, so if you wanted to call a retreat, you can call. I'll give you one of a few numbers, but I can give you 718-859-8000. Just ask for admissions or push the button for admissions. And it is a very seamless, easy process. We have retreatlc.com is one of the websites. It's a simple retreatlc.com. So, we're there to help. We're 24/7. Somebody calls, we'll guide them in the right direction. If we can't take them, we're only going to send them to a place that we can work with. That can.
Perfect. And what we're going to do is we're going to post on this Facebook Live post, since we're doing a Facebook Live right now. We will post the website and a phone number for anybody if you wanted to retreat yourself or your loved one. I didn't know that was a different number, so now I'm going to have to review that one that Robbie sent.
The one that Robbie sent was basically just saying that essentially they're going to now pursue murder charges for people who are selling.
Okay, so yeah, that is a different one.
That leads to death.
All right, so what we're going to have to do for that show, tell Robbie, let's get a law enforcement individual, like a chief deputy.
Yeah, it says Miller said the bill HB 477 ensures that dealers of opioids and fentanyl will be charged with murder if someone dies from the drugs they sold.
Look, bottom line, Florida's fighting back. We did it with the pill mills. We had a pill mill problem. People were laughing about Florida because we had a pill mill issue. And look, everybody's saying, look, what's going on down in Florida? But you know what? They fixed that situation down here.
Yep.
But when they fixed the pill mill situation, the addiction part was not fixed. We weren't prepared, or Florida was not prepared for the amount of, the whole nation wasn't prepared for how many people were abusing the physicians, the pain management, the pain clinics, the pharmacies. They just weren't prepared. So now we have this big opioid epidemic, we have this heroin epidemic, we have this overdose epidemic going on, and so now Florida again is fighting back. And this is what I like about Florida. Listen, I used to make fun of the state a lot, even while living here, like everybody does. But let me tell you something about it. It may take us a couple of years, but when we do punch back, we punch hard.
Yep.
Florida has just punched really hard. The legislature's here, the government here has just punched really hard our current industry, the treatment industry. So let's see how it all plays out and see how, I'm sure there's a fix here. And I'm sure they don't want to knock out the small providers. They're just they just didn't know what to do. They just, look, they have people, family members from Ohio and other, Midwest states calling and saying, I sent my son to treatment in Florida and now they're dead and they're to blame. What's going on? And so they had to do something. And so they're doing something. So we'll see how that all plays out. All right, we got a minute left, Trinity. Any last words?
I'm trying to think.
We got a big birthday. Dalia turns 18, my baby Dalia. Hey, Zoe, you want to say happy birthday to Dalia? Come on, get down there and say happy birthday to your sister. Well, you'd be a good sister.
Happy birthday, Dalia.
You want to sing? You want to sing happy birthday to her? Okay. All right, so happy birthday, Dalia. You're 18. My oldest daughter is an adult as of tomorrow.
Wow.
Is an adult as of tomorrow.
That means you're old.
Oh my God. Dalia, you're turning 18 tomorrow. I'm so happy for you. Although she doesn't want to spend any time with us tomorrow on her birthday. She wants to go out with her friends and stuff like that. All right, Dalia, that's fine. You want to go out with your friends on your birthday? Go ahead. Go out with your friends. I guess that's what 18 does. It says, you know what? I'm done with kid birthdays. See ya. I'm going to be gone all day. All right, maybe something will happen and that'll change. Anyway, so from all of us here on the Couch Live, thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can go to nowmattersmore.org and help out anytime. Adios, amigos. It's time for a taco. Goodbye.